Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Bellies, Babies, and Birth. So excited to be joining you today. We've got some special guests on, and yes, I said guests plural, because we're going to be talking to Keaton and Chase. So we'll get into that in just a minute. But yeah, Bellies, Babies, and Birth originally started out to be about more the birth community, but really expanding to make connections here in the Valley within Phoenix and just anybody committed to health. And there's just so many resources out there that my heart for the podcast is really just to help people connect with other things that are going on in the Valley, other aspects of their health they might not be aware of or paying attention to. And these guys are doing it better than most. And so I'm so excited to have them on. I had a blast on their podcast a couple weeks ago. So with all that said, welcome Chase and Keaton from Haven Training and Fitness. And why don't you guys tell us a little bit about, you can both take a turn, but tell us a little bit about how you came to be in Phoenix for one thing.
Yeah. Thanks for the introduction. I'll start our first journey, and then you can kind of tell the Phoenix part. So basically, we both met in Utah. Has it been 6 years now? 5 years?
Been 5 or 6.
Wow.
6 years ago, and we were both, just trying to cut our teeth and learn the business of personal training at a public gym and training everybody we could under the sun. And we just saw a lot of things that we didn't necessarily love about the way things were being done. And me and Keaton always just had aspirations, having our own facility and really being able to control everything head to toe, have our own business, control all those assets. And we had talked about going to Arizona way back then. Man, we were this was 3 moves ago. We both moved all over the place since then. And we just kind of, it sat the seed there. We wanted to do something like that. We wanted to do it in the Phoenix area. And then we had a bunch of moves in between, and Keaton beat me out here by about 3 or 4 years. And I think that's a good spot for you.
Yeah. So with a corporate commercial gym that we worked together with, I was brought out here to help push the momentum of building gyms for them and getting the training going in Arizona. Obviously a lot of competition out here, so they wanted to make sure that we could be successful. So came out here, opened a gym, and it opened January 17th, 2020. And we know what comes very shortly after that. So we got the gym open. It was open for like 2 months. We had some good momentum, and then COVID happened. And so with that, obviously a lot of time to kind of sit back and think on what I wanted to do. I'm in Arizona. Do I stay? Do I go back to Utah? And honestly, just Arizona was a great place to start what I wanted to do. And I knew I wanted to do my own training. We didn't know what it was going to be called, anything like that. And that's where Haven came about. And, kind of you look at the definition of Haven, and the part that kind of stuck out the most to me is a place that offers equal opportunity and resources. Right. And so when it comes to training, there's so much misinformation out there. Do you trust your trainer? Is making you sweaty a good workout? Just so many things we just don't know. Right. And so I want to make sure we had a place that, one, we informed people and taught them how to do things they need to do to be able to take their life into their own hands. And so Haven kind of just stuck out with me. And, we fought for a while to get Chase out here, I think. So we got him out here, towards the end of 2022, and it's just failed to not look back, put in the rearview mirror and just head forward since then. So it's been great.
Yeah, been a lot of fun.
Now, Chase, we met for lunch, but I want you to share with the listeners, and obviously then Keaton can add his piece as well. When we first met actually at the farmer's market, we were sort of talking about ways we share mutual clients and could be beneficial to each other. But when we met for a longer conversation, it really struck me the heart that you guys have for training differently. So tell me a little bit more, tell our listeners a little bit more about the difference behind that, not just because, like you said, there's a lot of misinformation about fitness and training. The whole thing about is stretching good before or after exercise came up in a conversation I was in this morning. But so not just the misinformation piece, but I want you guys to get into more of the heart of what it is you're trying to provide.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you're one of the only people that I've been able to go into a Zupas with and just talk about the fun stuff that we get into.
We dove in. That was
we really did. I was inspired and really motivated after our conversation because really lighthearted. But yeah, kind of getting into the heart of a big reason why we've, wanted to create Haven, and that I think kind of take a step back goes into both of our backgrounds a bit. And so going into ours and where we started back in that corporate gym, right? My background is a little, usually not what I would recommend as far as personal trainers going this route. I didn't go like the typical education route that I usually recommend. I was really blessed to find some great mentors, and in those mentors, I found some things that were really important to me, and some things I found missing early in my career that I found either I wasn't giving clients or clients were looking for. And I feel like a lot of that was that acknowledgement and that listening and understanding that, like, hey, you are trying to make some big changes, and these changes there's so much more to that. There's everyone wants to bring up research nowadays, and everyone wants to paraphrase it and things like this, but there's beyond that, it's looking at a person and going, hey, like, were your parents overweight? Did they smoke? Did they drink? Did their grandparents, did they smoke and they drink? There's a lot of generational stuff that we're looking at here. There's a lot more to this person than simply being able to, like, hey, you snack too much, right? Really looking at this person for who they are and going, hey, like, let's not just look at you and feel like you're dealing with a weight issue or you're dealing with some low back pain. Let's look at you for what you are and what you've done. You've raised kids, you work 50 hours a week. You had and it's, I always ask it, like, in our assessments, I'm like, hey, have you ever had an injury, ever, even if it healed properly? Tell me about it, because it's gonna show up in your movement. And everyone, they always just blow me off. They're like, no. I'm like, trust me, I'm gonna see it later. Like, if you don't tell me you rolled your ankle in 8th grade, I'm gonna have to do the looking and I'll find it later.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times
Feeling attacked about the ankle rolls.
Yep.
So much
Yep.
volleyball.
Exactly. It's always that. I'm like, I want to know if you stubbed your toe. Like, I need to know. I need to know who was mean to you today and tomorrow. Right? And I think that was a big part of it for me, was like, people aren't black and white. No day is the same. And no, this is where I think a lot of people in fitness get messed up, is there's all this misinformation. But there's also so much information about what's optimal. I'm like, hey, you shouldn't hear or even say the word optimal for years. Like, I want you to work out 2 days a week. I want you to feel really good. I want you to pick up your kids without pain. And I want you to be able to do the things you want to do for years longer than you've been doing them. And so I think that's a big part of it. And it's kind of become more of one of our mission statements, is like, make fitness work for your life. Don't make your life work for fitness. Because I know so many young trainers that have good hearts, but they're just like, hey, you need to work out 5 days a week. I got you on a push-pull split, and we're going to ramp up your volume. And I'm like, they don't know what volume is. Like, that stuff's fun. And I think that kind of comes back into our background. And we've mentioned it both on your podcast and stuff, right? Like, I've had an aunt that died from diabetes because she just could not stop eating sugar. I've seen families suffer through heart or all these other issues. Like, I even have a grandmother right now. I call her and yell at her. I'm like, she's like, my knee just hurts, so I stopped moving. I'm like, your knee hurts because you stopped moving. Like, I've worked with you, and you don't have a bad knee. It's you need to do some stuff, right, Grandma? And I just yell at her because I'm just like, do something.
Yeah.
And people just stop moving. And so I think it's when you watch people and they slowly degrade over time, when it's really not a super complex fix. It's like, go into the gym, stretch, roll out, feel better, breathe a little better, do it 1 or 2 days a week, and the long-term effects of that go a long way. And I think that's where, as Haven goes, it's been a big part of it for us, is let's create a space where people can come in and don't feel like they need to be superheroes.
Yeah.
You're already doing a lot of things. You're a mom, you're a manager, you're a cousin, a sister, like, you're those things all day. Let's not give you any names. Like, come in here and be a person, and let's just get you moving.
Yeah. No, I think his background plays a big role. Like, that's the biggest thing. When he came out here, obviously I was plugging away, training constantly. And, that's the best thing about having a good team member, is be able to look over and just like, I don't do that. Like, I need to do that. And that's something that Chase always been good at, is getting multiple levels deep with his clients. And it's something that we just make sure at Haven, we understand the why of your why to help you get there. Because it's one thing to go, okay, you want to lose weight, right? The workout's such a small part of that anyways, that we need to help you in so many other ways, as far as habits and lifestyle and stuff like that. And I think that's just a big half of what we do. And then going into my background is, went to school for physical therapy. decided to go another route, but I have that college education that helps me kind of understand the body a little more than we're going to get big biceps and big quads, and which a lot of trainers kind of or 6-pack abs. Like, we look at it more as the person and how well they move, right? So he said he can, look and see if you had an ankle sprain at one point. That's because we've really done our study and be able to understand how the body's supposed to move. And so that's a big thing we play into it as well. Is I've had people when they come in and I do this assessment and I'm like, hey, you know how you lean forward during your squat like that? Have you ever been told that? Yeah. Well, it's because your ankles are tight. So we're going to elevate your heels. We're going to work on your ankle tightness. And there's like, no one, I've been with trainers for 5 years. And no one's ever done that. And I'm just like, I want to be like, oh, I'm sorry. Like, it's because we're great. And I'm like, that's basic stuff. But, try not to make them be like, oh, you're with some, but the biggest thing is we want you to, and our motto is move better, feel better, perform better. Right. And we can't skip the move better part before the perform better part. And I think a lot of trainers just focus on that and those short-term goals. And I really talk with my clients, like being able to be okay with delayed gratification. I think we all want to just see instant results, and understanding that habits and things like that have to happen, and routine has to be part of the process before that comes. And so I tell everyone the quote that the man who loves to walk will walk further than the man who loves the destination. And so that's the biggest thing is I need our clients to want to fall in love with the walking. And a lot of that comes with us being very educational and helping them understand their bodies, why they can't do things. Like, most trainers like, oh, let's put a barbell on your back to squat. And when it's uncomfortable or it hurts, they just stop doing it. And so they come to us and go, oh no, squats are bad for me, or whatever it is. Instead of the trainer educating them and telling them, we want to inform them why they can't do it, that they can do it eventually, but there's going to be a process to it. But these are things we can do. It's just, we can't right now. And so a lot of teaching, and I always tell them, I want you to work with me, but I don't want you to need to work with me. That's how much I want to educate you. I want you to know just as much as me, but you love our relationship. We built such a good one that we can trust each other on so many levels that you just want to keep coming back. So those are just a lot of things that we focus on, that in all of our years at commercial gyms and seeing other trainers, and especially, I could do a whole nother thing on from day one to day now of running a business and all the stuff I've seen. That's just difficult for personal trainers to be successful, which leads to the success of our clients, right? Like, there's no resources for us to be successful. So how can we relay good resources to them? But I've seen so much. It's just, we need to be able to make it better. We need to change the fitness industry, and that's what we aim to do. So.
Amazing. Well, you must be helping most of them fall in love with the journey and with the walking, because you had an amazing turnout at your community hike.
Yeah.
That was impressive. And almost everybody made it to the top.
Yeah.
That was really cool.
Yeah. I didn't expect that either, actually.
And I know I can't say, like, I'm like, as far as the people who said they were coming, I think we were like 98% of people showed it, but I unfortunately, booked it so far in advance. I didn't realize it was Mother's Day weekend. And so we even only had about 50% of our clientele be able to even say they were coming. So I'm like, oh, but it could have been bigger. But the amount that we had shown was great. Yeah.
It was great. It was really fun. I was glad I was there. Yeah, that was super fun. Okay, so great start. You guys also have a podcast called Fitness Advocates. Tell us a little bit about the story behind that and why you're bothering to put efforts into that.
Go for it.
Yeah, I think a big thing, and it kind of comes down to, and this is something I think why I feel like as soon as I think we met you, we were just like, oh yeah, we get it, we get along. And I think it's when I see you, I see it immediately. If you have the heart of an educator, right? It's like, yeah, you do this, but when I came to your thing and you were talking, I was like, this is an educator, and this is what she's passionate about. And I feel like that's the same thing for us. It's like health and wellness is what we're passionate about, and we both have the heart, that teacher heart. And so it's another way for us to kind of provide value for both our clients and other people. But a lot of times, the biggest limitation we have is that we're with someone for an hour, and there's so many things that need context, and everything's so context derivative. And so big thing for us is taking things that might seem very complex, might seem very long, and breaking them down basics so that, someone that doesn't have time to go read all the things or watch the 30-minute YouTube video, whatever, it's just kind of like, hey, put us on in the car and get some context of what you would probably hear us talk about stuff in a session, and have it brought down to ground level, because it's so much stuff these days. It's like we're in a competition who can make things the most complicated, it feels like. And it works for the top 1%. And it's a personal like problem of mine now, where it's like everybody wants to bring research to the Instagram or the social media. And we're having this like argument of research. And first off, almost anyone that's reading this research has a degree in the things to even properly read the research in the context. We have professionals reading things and it's not their profession, and then they try to read someone else's profession or niche, and you're getting it's just messy, right? And so I think a lot of times we forget who we're talking to, and it comes down to that whole thing. It's like, if you can't make a 5-year-old, a 10-year-old understand these topics, you may not understand them that well. And it's kind of bringing these things down, where it's like, whether it be supplements, nutrition, training stuff, there's a lot of options, and it's like, let's break this down and make it really understandable, but also make it work for our clients, because that's who our main people when we think we're talking to our clients. Like, hey,
Yeah.
I know you had questions about training like the Bulgarians for some reason, because you saw some girl that did that. Here's 10 reasons why that's a bad idea. And just kind of making that information a little more digestible, I guess.
Yeah.
And entertaining.
Yes, and entertaining.
Don't put we in there. We know who it is.
I swear too much.
Oh, that's mostly Chase?
Oh, it's 95% Chase.
95% Chase. Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's not my fault that I like to have a good time.
Hey, there's nothing. Yeah, we didn't say there's anything wrong with it.
Yeah.
My family got me a t-shirt that says every good mom says the F word. I have like a workout tank that says that. I'm like, well, I don't know about that, but
It's amazing. That's
yeah,
amazing.
I definitely, it flies. I think I cussed on your podcast. I was like, oh, and you guys are like, oh, we're good.
Trust me, we're
Yeah,
good.
Yeah, we're dialing it down for you.
Well, thank you.
Yeah,
Dialing it down. It has a place, right?
exactly.
So yeah, we definitely connected on the education front, and you're so supportive. You and your girlfriend even came to my sex workshop, which I greatly appreciated. That was a fun time too. But so speaking of girlfriends in that situation, and Keaton, you're married, you guys have kids, super cute kids. I got to meet them at the hike. How has your wife, because I know she's not directly involved in the business, but in terms of being a trainer, but how has your wife having kids and you guys having a family, has it changed your perspective on training female clients, and what things has that made you kind of say, well, maybe I need to look at this, or things that you guys, conversations that maybe weren't on your radar before?
Yeah. Well, first off, I'll just dive into like me personally and understand that I was far from the most empathetic person, right? And my wife is very empathetic, the complete opposite. And so just one, in that relationship with my wife, it's helped me become better at being able to understand where clients are coming from, and that even though I may not directly understand it, I can still support them in whatever it is and find the best route to get them from point A to point B. Kids, patience, as we know, patience, being able to break things down onto a more simple level to be able to teach things and understand that I've put a lot of time into knowing what I know. And to everyone else, this is an hour out of their day. It's my life. It's an hour out of their day. And so I'll be able to help them understand that and be more efficient in the workouts that way. But there's this growth you go through as a trainer where you feel like you can fix and help everybody. Like you're the secret weapon to their success. And then you realize that you are the smallest portion. You're like the accountability. Like I'm like, they're always like, oh, thank you so much. I'm like, all I did was tell you what to do. Like, that's really to the point and extent of what I do now. It's my job to be the best friend, trainer, therapist, psychological and physical, in many ways for you. And I want you have to be able to come and enjoy the session with me. And we kind of joke a lot with like ChatGPT and everything that the programming of a trainer may become obsolete at some point. We don't know. But the relationship of a trainer will always be needed. We are support systems. We are so much more than a workout. And that's what gives me, and can vouch for Chase, the most gratification out of what we do is relationships that we're able to build and form with these people as we get them and they become family and they become more than just clients to us. And we are just as invested in their success as they are. And having a family and obviously having the experience I have in the industry has really helped me more from the exercise guy to the relationship guy that really helps people succeed.
Mhm.
Well, if
Yeah.
anybody doesn't know, ChatGPT is one of the AI programs that's out right now and can do a lot of writing and things for you. So just if somebody that wasn't on somebody's radar, because it hasn't been on my radar all that long considering, but yeah, 100%. Like, not only can AI not ever replace the relationship, but I think we're all learning. So we're sitting here on Zoom right now, but I think we could both admit we had way more fun at the library in your setup for a podcast. And I never really, since 2020, I try not to be on Zoom except for things where it really does serve me the best. I'm done with things that aren't in person. And we had way more fun at the library. That was very cool in the podcast studio. So I think in the same way, just like my job, like nothing would replace, like there's a ton of people doing telemedicine and it filled a hole in a crisis and it serves a lot of situations that is truly the best option. But to think that could replace the energy of being in the same room with someone, that could replace my hands-on touch and skill and what I can pick up on by literally seeing all of their body language. There's no way that's the same through Zoom. And there's no way that any particular language or situation could take over for that value. And so, yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because programming, yeah, like you said, what am I going to do? Push, pull? Am I going to like front, back, like arms day, leg day, all cardio, like hit cardio, like all the things, right? There's always new trends and fads and ideas, right? Which is great. It's always evolving, but the ability, like you said, and I think the humility of recognizing, that's what I heard as you were talking, the humility of recognizing that, like, let's be honest, you're an hour out of their day. For most of my clients, I'm an hour or 90 minutes out of their week. Most of our clients do really well coming once a week. It's not like regular PT where you come 2 to 3 times a week. And so yeah, I think that we have to recognize that and like the value and the ways we educate them and the impact that we can have by treating a whole person, not just treating neck pain or glute weakness or their desire for fitting in their clothes, which is super valid, but just a tiny, tiny piece of the picture. What's been one of your favorite topics so far that you guys have done for your podcast? Because your podcast is fairly new. How many episodes do you have?
We have a couple we haven't released as well.
Okay.
I mean, the most fun one, because I just love, but the most swear happy one is the supplement industry just makes me so mad. So that's probably my favorite one.
I'll have to go listen to all that. My husband listened to some of your episodes, but I haven't listened to a whole one yet.
The one where he said there's a lot of cussing is probably that one.
Yeah, I get so mad at
The
just
blatant
people
lies.
wasting money.
Yeah.
I hate when people are taken advantage of and they taste their money. So that one, I don't think Keaton understood how, because like when I'm bored, I love history. So like I have researched, not extensively, but like pretty in depth the like history of like both supplements, where trends come from, and exercise as well. And it's like when you understand that, like, this is one of my favorite stories, and I'll tell it here again because it just shows you a lot about exercise in general. So I think this was the 1800s. There was a doctor going around and he was like, hey, you guys need to exercise. It's really good for you. You need to get your heart rate beating. And at this time and age, they were like, hey, your heart only has so many beats. If you make it beat faster, you will die. And so everyone was like, don't do that. Don't listen to this doctor. You know, he's got this crazy leg extension machine. And this is, 2000 years ago. And long story short, this guy was going city to city, like circus style, putting on these presentations of fitness and health. It's good to get your body moving. He died of a heart attack in his 50s. And it, not correlated to the exercise, pushed exercise science back like 100 years, because everyone goes, look what happened to the guy that was trying to push it forward. And I think that's a lot of times like can show you how fragile the industry is, and just like how easy it is for topics just to get taken and whoever is the martyr for it, whatever. So I just will go on tangents.
Yeah, like 2 + H = red. Like,
Yeah,
They're
exactly.
just like
Oh
the
my gosh.
correlations are like, whoa, what?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it gets me mad. But I don't know, what was your favorite episode?
It's
I think it's the
Wh-
trappers. We should have said our favorite one was with her, huh? I felt so bad.
It was a trap.
honestly, so
It was a trap.
after that one, Chase like, never heard you so quiet. And so like, but honestly, that's the one I go into these podcasts and I'm the one that's done all the research and I'm the one that's talking and putting out my opinion. But honestly, be able to sit there and just listen and learn was great. Like I loved it, and he was like, I didn't talk because I didn't need to talk. Like I could just sit there and listen and it was great. Chase had the questions, you had the answers, and I just got to be there.
That's a tag team.
It was fun. It was super fun. I like the switch too, because like you guys are getting the chance to be interviewed right now. Like most of the time I'm just asking the questions and
Mhm.
listening and trying to learn how to ask better questions and get to things that matter to people. But yeah, so it's fun to be on both sides at different times.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm totally with you.
All right, so I'm not going to let up on you about the kids thing yet. So it's taught you patience, but in terms of like fitness and women, did it change at all how you saw some of the differences in the postpartum female body?
Yeah, and it's the biggest thing I think goes to what we've kind of hit on already is helping them fall in love with who they are now and the differences in their bodies, right? It's that we're moving forward. We're not trying to get back to where we once were. We're not trying to be old me. We're trying to be the best we can be right now, right? And there's changes are different for every woman as they go through pregnancy. And I mean, shoot, my wife has developed allergies after pregnancies, and just the amazing things that happen to the body through that process. It's about just moving forward. It's about taking what hand we've been given at this point and getting better and understanding that, progress looks different and the emotional side of things too, depending on at what stage, right? I have to be a different coach. I tell everyone and I have one client called me a walking red flag because of this comment, but I was like, every one of my clients sees a different version of me because they need a different version of me. It may not be a huge difference, but whether it's just in the tone of my voice or the type of words I say or the amount of, comforting that person needs, depending on where, the woman is on either beginning or after, prior, whatever it is, I have to adapt and help them understand that they aren't a burden. They aren't this emotional mess that, they can just continue on and that things are going to change. They could come in 1 month and it'd be completely different because their hormones have changed. So as far as just like being married and having kids and how it's adapted is just that aspect to be able to understand and help and work through that and knowing that it's going to be different. I have to research a lot too. Like I've got clients who are trying to go through the process of getting pregnant right now with in vitro and look up things. She gets put on Lupron here in the next couple of weeks, and how can I support her through that? And so I mean, there's a lot of different things that and stages that I have to be able to educate myself on as well.
Yeah, and I think although I haven't had I don't have kids or anything, I've worked with, I think, especially when I was in Utah, with quite a few pregnant women. And something, and that's why I love, I think me and you kind of connected on early. I think a lot of times they need to be reminded of the significance of what being pregnant and giving birth is, right? It's like, hey, like my body's not the same. Like you shouldn't want it to be. Look what you've done. And I think there should be, and sometimes it's a reminder of like, hey, you should go through an age of discovery, rediscover what your body is now. It's like he said, things are going to be different, things are going to be changed. And I think a lot of times it's exactly what he said. It's just like, hey, just like this isn't, and obviously if there's something abnormal, that should be taken care of. But it's like, yeah, these things are normal.
Yeah.
You're gonna feel this way. Don't try to not feel this way. If your body did change a lot, that's okay to grieve that. That doesn't mean you can't love yourself going forward. And one of my favorite things I tell everyone, I'm like, hey, you can't hate yourself into a new body. You cannot, you can't hate your body until it turns into what you want and then suddenly love it. It doesn't work that way, right? So a lot of times, my favorite advice that I've ever given any of my postpartum clients ever is, and this is actually the biggest challenge, is I'm like, hey, I don't want you to drink, I don't care about the water, about the fruit. I want you to find 5 minutes per day where you sit in silence. Find that 5 minutes. because for you, that's everything. Because especially, we could go into depth, all the hormones that change through the whole pregnancy, all of the things that change. Your mind, you're never going to look at life the same because your hormones have changed the way you're going to look at life. Your priorities are changed forever. And that's okay. But I think a lot of times, the word mom and the duty of being a mom is so overbearing for some people right off the bat, right? It's like immediately you're so responsible that sometimes it's like, hey, you are a mom, you're not the mom. It's okay to still be you. It's okay to still like the things you like. It's okay to still find time for the things you like. Just because your child's on the floor and you feel like just because you're not paying attention and you're Googling something you're interested in doesn't make you a bad person. And so I think a lot of times it's just reminding these people that what they're going through is normal. And exactly like what Keith said, it's like rediscover who you are, rediscover what your priorities are, rediscover your body, give it time. And for the love of love, your goal should never be weight or anything to do with the way you look.
Yeah.
For at least, I would hope a year after having a child, but I would give yourself time, work through it. Your body's going to do what it's going to do. It's going to need its time to recover. Do not focus on weight loss or weight gain. Don't focus on being hot for this or that. Give yourself time. Give yourself that grace period to go into exercise and to what feels good and go that period and just be patient.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously I agree 100%. And like you said, especially like women are nursing, and sometimes when whatever the motivation, right? Whether it's trying to get their body back or just fit in their clothes, or, I mean, it is totally normal to want to have some of that sense of self again. But like you guys, we talked about, like, going forward, we're not getting back to our old selves, not looking back, not going back. We're moving forward because you are forever changed in dozens of ways. And with the nursing and the hormones and all the different things that affect it. But if you force any of that, whether it's the mental, emotional, or physical aspects of it, that's some of the stuff that can lead to the depletion. That's why some of those switches get flipped for autoimmune, for allergies, I mean, we see it a lot. Sometimes you can struggle with things like PCOS or endometriosis, and pregnancy can flip those hormones. And in some lovely, amazing cases, you're much better after you've been through a pregnancy. Sometimes it can flip the switch the other way, and you have things that were never an issue before. And so, man, I don't think any time could possibly be as critical for nutrition as postpartum. And we think being during pregnancy would be all the more critical, and it is, but we burn way more calories nursing, and there's way more chance for the body to deplete the mom to give to the baby during nursing, even more so than pregnancy. And I don't think we really have a good understanding. I don't think that's been given a lot of attention. So I'm like you guys, we treat whole body, and I'm not a nutritionist or a dietitian or anything either. We just try to point people to resources. It's a huge part of why I do the podcast and have different types of practitioners on. But yeah, like when you're trying to help clients with wholeness, if you can at least point them, like, I'm not a licensed counselor either, but I know therapists, and I know therapists trained in postpartum and perinatal. I know therapists that do EMDR and brain tap, all these different things, right? And the resources in the community. And that's another piece that I know we connected on early, Chase, was like that passion for building community and building networks and resources for our clients. And I absolutely love that about you guys. It was so great to already meet your girlfriend and your whole family, Keaton, and we'll have to have you guys over. Are you going to come do Murph?
Yeah, I was thinking about that on the way here. I was like, I really want to, but I know we sound
how your schedule.
Yeah, I just all my erectors are cramping so hard because I competed on Sunday.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and I was so brilliant. I was like, you know what we're gonna do 2 days after is we're gonna introduce a new exercise, but it'll be light. And next thing you know, I'm like, Keaton on the ground. I was like, I did it again. So yeah, I really wanted to. That's you'll have to send me the information on that though.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm wanting to. That should be
Well, even if you don't come to Murph, you guys could join us for the post Murph barbecue party, swim party we're having back here. But
Yeah,
No.
absolutely. Yeah,
Um,
get there. I'm
Yeah.
available again.
well, so your podcast is called Fitness Advocates.
Yep.
What's your website? Tell them a little bit more about where they can connect with you and the resources you guys are building.
Yeah, so we currently have our website is www.trainathaven.com, where they can go on and see the products we offer. Worked with somebody great, built an awesome website, and can go in and schedule a free assessment. That's the biggest thing is we take pride in building programs and our training overall, specifically towards each person individually. And so we offer that free assessment. That's a big part of what we do. So we can become educated on how to help you. We've got our social media. I know a big one that we do is fitness. Oh, that's the podcast, Fitness Advocates. I don't remember that one, but Haven_training is our Instagram. We do have our Facebook group, Haven Family, as part of the community. We like our clients to be able to have access to us in many different ways to be able to reach their goals. But, continually trying to grow. We're big in the community right now, trying to do anything and everything, as farmers markets, and we're in networking groups like crazy. And, I had a great story today as I was driving over here, and my phone's going off of someone was like, need a trainer. And there was like 6 people that commented on there and be like, Keaton, and it's a big part of what we do is we like to build relationships. And so obviously you can see us on those platforms, our website and social media, but we love to get out and maybe run into some people in some areas out there. So,
Yeah.
And where's your actual gym?
the actual gym is located technically North Glendale, but I mean, right there, Happy Valley area, off 17. It's 35th Drive in Pinnacle Peak. 35th Avenue is the main road, but we're just set off of that in an industrial area. Good, so have everything we need as far as equipment goes, unless you like machines. But we don't do machines. That's something we have never really, we're not against
the
them.
machine.
Yeah, that's right. We're not against them, but we don't use them to train very often. But yeah, not too far, right off the 17 by 2-3 minutes, so easy access to get there. And hopefully in that same area for a while to come too. So
Awesome. And you also have 2 female trainers that you guys are working with, bringing up underneath you.
Yep.
Are they officially at another location already?
Yeah, but we're not quite hammered in yet. We're just
Okay.
finishing it up. But yeah, they'll be in the Phoenix area, North Phoenix
All
area.
right, stay tuned for that, you guys. They're growing already.
Yep, absolutely.
Awesome. Well, and we'll have all that stuff linked in the show notes too. I think one of the things I want to close with is you guys knew about my new theme. We've been talking about no shame, no settling, and no suffering. And I would love to have you guys just kind of share on what that piece means to you and how that theme, how you see that in your own business too, because I know you guys do.
yeah, the biggest thing, especially in the assessment and that first part of getting a new client, is the guilt, all the feelings that they feel, all different types of emotions that, women in particular feel towards themselves. And it's the biggest thing is, like we touched on, it's, you got to be okay with who you are. It's, we're where we are. Doesn't mean we can't be changed. I tell everyone there's 2 good times to plant a tree, 20 years ago and today, right? Like we got to start now. And so being able to understand that we can always move forward. We can always get better. And do we need, in some ways, like, do we need to get better? Like, what are the things that we're being hard on ourselves for, right? Is it, like Chase brought up, is it we're not a good enough mom or wife or whatever it is? And understanding that, we're doing our best. We've got many hats, from our job, from being mom, husband, sister, daughter, everything. There's so many hats. Just to be okay with who we are at this time, but to build good habits, healthy habits, right? There's a difference between unhealthy goals and healthy goals, and wanting to get somewhere because of vain reasons, wanting to look better, where it should be to feel better and have more energy with our kids, or to be able to, have the energy to spend time after work with a husband, whatever it may be. And so I think just the biggest thing with that is we do our best to help women understand, with the female clients that we get, that there's nothing wrong with who they are and where they're at. And that Chase hit it right on, is we don't want weight to be your goal. We want it to be a result of the training we do, of picking up good habits and really trying to switch that mindset that we're just trying to be our best. And whatever that is, as long as we're working towards it, that's totally fine.
Yeah, I love that. I love that's I've been saying too. I've really, after the Sex 2.0 course, I was really reflecting on that and stuff. And I think a big thing that means for us is even if you don't know if something's wrong, don't be afraid to ask, right? Don't always think that maybe, hey, this isn't the best experience for me, or this doesn't feel good, this is painful, I don't feel good here. Don't feel bad on asking other people their experience or talking about it. A great example of, this exact thing, there's a woman I worked with, and when she came to me, she was very, very on the point of like, hey, I need to lose this much weight. I want to be a size 0. I was this long ago. And I was like, okay, cool. We took the goals, and we do a big hierarchy of goals and behavior setting, and conversation after conversation, maybe 6 or 8 weeks later, she comes to me and she's like, hey, kind of talking about the size 0 thing. And she gets pinned up. She doesn't feel good about it. And I'm like, when you were a size 0, were you happy? And she had to think about it. And she took a week, and she came back the next week, and she's like, I really thought about it. And I was binge eating. I was, smoking cigarettes and all this stuff. I was not happy. And it's one of those things where don't put the highlight reel on of a different time in your life, right? Like there were things you really weren't happy with then. So don't put the highlight reel on. And if you are unhappy with certain things in your life, even if you're like, hey, my goal is this, don't be afraid to reach out and start working on those things, but just be open to maybe the goalposts moving. And the goal you had really wasn't the goal that you had. You just didn't know what it looked like, what it could look like. And so just be open and being open to those conversations and asking those people around you. And it really just for me comes down to a lot of people talk about like unconditional love, like you should love yourself. And I really like that. I do. But one thing I think that's never talked about, you should unconditionally like yourself. You should be like, you know what, at the end of the day, I had this weird family situation. I kind of do this kind of odd, but man, I'm just quirky. I like that about me. I like that. Even though I don't do things right all the time, I like that. I love myself too, but I just like myself a lot. And I think that's something that's really not talked about and kind of underrated, especially for the women in the world where everything is kind of thrown at you from the minute you start, you get anything going and you start looking anywhere.
Yeah.
Well, I would hope that the conversation we've had today would be enough to assuage any fears or concerns a female might have about working with either of you. I know sometimes women can be uncomfortable working with a male trainer, but for sure from our first lunch, Chase, like, especially given, I know you're in a committed relationship, but you aren't married and you don't have kids yet. Not that kids help with this piece, but
They can.
like the extent to which you guys study human behavior, like it's so evident in even the few interactions we've now had, how much you do truly care, not just to get clients, not just to build a gym, not just to grow, but like, it's not even just that you care, it's that you have really done a lot of work. And I know, Chase, we talked about how much reading and studying you've done. Keaton, not as much. We haven't talked about as much. I'm not saying
No, you were right.
Just to clarify, but just the extent to which you've really put effort into understanding. If you, and not swoon like Gaga, but like you want to take a woman to her knees, making her feel seen in any capacity is a game changer. And I feel like you guys knock that out of the park. I feel like your efforts at understanding the bazillion of thoughts that go through our head, the pressures, the thing, like even what you just said, Chase, about things getting thrown at you from day one of whatever day one is. But you guys really have like a next level understanding of the real life everyday struggles. And I think that matters. And so, like I said, I would hope just from the conversation that we've had, people would grasp that. Obviously, a majority of my listeners are women. And I think that really matters when you are trying to make healthy changes, to have somebody that understands where you're coming from. And even when maybe your thoughts aren't the healthiest, can say, hey, listen, what about this? Or like you said to that lady, were you happy then? Like, I understand that's your goal and your target. What is it you're really after? And like, at the end of the day, I would love to have super cut teardrop delts I care about that more than my abs. I think my arms are a little bit too long. But anyway, at the end of the day, like if you ask me what I really want, I want to feel capable. I want to know that I can heave the 50-pound bag of dog food my own self. My son joked last night, he's 15. He now weighs, well, he keeps trying to say he's 112. I think that might be soaking wet. But anyway, he weighs over 100 pounds. He
Yeah.
just barely passed me in height. And he fell asleep on the couch. He's like, Mom, why didn't you carry me upstairs? I was like, and then so I'm sitting there going, could I? What's my front squat? Like, I was like, maybe piggyback. But so just feeling capable. I said, Trevor, I think something would have to be like flooding or on fire for me to have the added adrenaline to actually pull that task off. But I digress. But just feeling capable. And I think at the end of the day, that's probably what most of us, yes, we want to fit in our clothes. Yes, we
Yeah.
want to live a healthier, longer life. Like aging doesn't just have to, like, we might live to be 90, but if my last 15 years, I can barely walk and get around, what good is that? Like wanting to stay mobile, wanting to stay active, fit in our clothes. But
Yep.
yeah, that just feeling capable. But I really want to applaud and recognize you guys for the extent to which you work hard to understand your clients, communicate on deeper levels, and not just cater to the masses. I really am impressed by that and grateful for it. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
And thanks for taking the time out today. Any last parting words of wisdom you want to share with our audience today?
All I would have to say is if you're interested or curious about anything fitness related, we always, we tell like amongst ourselves, like we're not even in the fitness business. We're in the relationship business with a speckle of fitness, right? That's the transaction. And so if you're looking to come, change how you view fitness and really have a more long-term relationship with your body and have someone help you out with that, that's what we do. Especially if you're busy or anything like that, that's, more than capable, and you're more capable of anything than I think that's basically what I would end on.
Yeah, just to add on to that is hitting back at the beginning with the misinformation. And, we want to teach, we want to help you understand, we want to help you build a lifestyle that doesn't last for the next 6 months, but the rest of your life, right? I couldn't agree more with the amount of people I run into that it's like, had a lady that was doing my whole spiel and talking, had my client there, Julie, who he knows, and she's just like, oh, Keaton's helped me, I can vacuum my whole house in one go now, and all these things that, I've helped her with as, a retired individual. This lady's like, oh yeah, when I'm 65, I'll have to come to you, Keaton. And it's just understanding it's like, it's too late at that point. And understanding that, we have to invest in our health now, because I read a thing in my network group where the average couple over 65 spends $250,000 in medical costs, right? And so, you wouldn't even come close to spending that on training if you invested in
We
yourself.
couldn't try.
Like,
We couldn't even try to charge that much.
Well, I'm talking if I got someone at 18 until they were 60, like,
I still don't know if we can push that.
I haven't done the math, but it's like, you won't even come close to that. And so it's like, you got to invest your health now so you can enjoy your life for the rest of your life. And I think you could have said it better than you did earlier.
Yeah. Well, and where else can they connect with you besides at the gym? Like, are you guys at any farmers markets this weekend? What are you doing?
So hot, no. It's so hot. No, the best place I would have to say would be our website or our social media. Feel free to reach out if you guys have any questions. That way, right? Just Chase Hernandez for mine, and Keaton is Coach Keaton Criswell for yours.
Yeah.
Honestly though, the main thing is just reach out to Amy, because Amy's awesome. Amy came up to me at a farmer's market, was like, "Hey, I do have a photo," and I was like, "Oh no!" And so
Yeah, it was fun.
that way, and then for you to be on hikes with us and everything like that, you're awesome. Me and Keaton are like, man, we just love Amy. Like we could just talk with Amy all the time. Like, it doesn't even
Mutual
matter.
admiration system.
Yeah, exactly.
Guys.
So honestly, shout out for you, what you're doing and how you're doing it.
Thanks.
Even since our podcast, I've had so many women reach out and go like, I needed this. I didn't know that this was the world that you're doing. So whether you like it or not, you're pioneering a space, and it's really awesome to see. So like I told you at lunch, we stand on the shoulders of giants, and you're a giant in your space.
Oh gosh, you're too kind. Well, thank you very much. I will receive that. Question as a consumer, I would think you guys might do something similar to us. So, as a cash-based physical therapist, we often get people who are like, "Oh my gosh, I'd love to come see you, but I need to use my insurance." I would think you probably also would train somebody who's like, "Well, I've got a membership over at Lifetime, but I just need some help knowing the right things to do." They can have a membership at a gym, come get some help from you guys, do their workouts their other days of the week. Is that true? Is that a good partnership that they can work with?
Yeah. Well, that's the nice thing with us is we aren't contracts, and that's why we like the lifelong relationship. I can't count how many people I've trained 5 years ago that are like, "Hey, I need to come do a couple months, get things back going again." Maybe they'll stay 2 times a week. Maybe people stay Lifetime 1 time a week. Even if you want to just come do a session and get some advice and check in that way, absolutely. We're very, flexible that way as far as like people's like actual lives and what the financials look like. And so absolutely, if someone's at a different gym, they can come to us, they can train with us once a week, just pay for the session, and then go to their gym. And we have an app that we have all their workouts in, and we both text clients more than our significant others would ever hope to have our time spent on.
And our significant others can vouch for that.
Yeah, exactly. So, and we have our own weekly check-in process and stuff like that. So we're definitely like talking throughout the week, and you can take what we show you and practice it anywhere else. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I figured that popped in my head because I was like, well, because sometimes we'll have clients, okay, great, go see so and so at this place that takes insurance. Come see us once or twice a month because we're one-on-one with you the whole time, or for the added expertise or extended manual therapy that they can't give you. So
Well, and how you met Chase Wright too is we offer stretch therapy, which, Lifetime might, they're a big time gym, but we offer from programming, like, if they're there to come and see us and train, or we do stretch therapy, or we sit down and do nutritional coaching talks with,
Yep.
we do what the client needs.
Yeah, we're all over the place as far as things that we have experience with, and it depends what you need. Get the help that you need, and only as much of it as you need.
Yep.
well, you guys are definitely crushing it that arena. We will post all the show notes, you guys, and all the places you can connect with them and hook up with them on social media. Thank you so much for being on, you guys. And thank you guys for listening to another episode of Bellies, Babies, and Birth. You know what to do. Share it out, like it, tell your friends, all the things, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Thanks.
Thank you
for having us.
Of course.